All right, everybody, Shabbat Shalom. Tonight, of course, is Christmas Eve. Millions of people worldwide are celebrating the birth of Jesus. Many of us know that Jews, such as Irving Berlin, who composed White Christmas, have influenced the holiday throughout the centuries. So tonight I want to share some history and a couple of stories about other Jews who made an impact on the Christmas celebration for millions of people. Now I know that some of us are sensitive in that whenever we see a Christmas tree in a store window, some people demand quite vociferously that there should be a Hanukkah menorah or some kind of Hanukkah display next to it as a sign of acceptance and equality. But Jews didn't always feel this way. You may know that, as an example, in Western Europe in the 19th century, holiday symbols signified inclusion in the broader society. Affluent Jews often posed for family photos in front of their Christmas tree, which they had in their homes. That was very common in Western Europe in the 19th century and early 20th century. Even Theodor Herzl had a decorated Christmas tree in his home in Vienna. In Germany, Christmas was a national festival. It didn't have the same religious trappings and connotations. And even some would say in this country, it doesn't so much, in the broad sense, have so much of the religious connotations. Christmas was a national festival. In order to show that you belonged and you were a good German citizen, you participated in the national festival. And that's what Jews did. They joined in Christmas festivities. Now, there are certain individual Jews that had a major impact on Christmas. One person I read about actually in the New York Times a little over a week ago, his name was Cy Spiegel. Did anybody see this article by any chance? All right, Ted, you saw it. There's a really great, beautiful, long article about this guy named Cy Spiegel, who was a World War II veteran. He flew over 35 missions. He was in the Air Force. And the expose goes into pretty great detail about that he was an extraordinary individual in terms of the war. When he got home to the United States, he felt that he faced quite a bit of anti-Semitism, which held him back from advancing in business the way he wanted to. He had to take sort of a low-level job in Westchester in a brush factory. Not brushes for like brushing your hair, but like, paint brushes, that sort of thing. And his bosses, somehow from brushes, his bosses tried to do a little side hustle, and they tried to make fake Christmas trees. And they just failed miserably. It just totally bombed. But Spiegel thought that they were onto something, and he felt that there was money to be made. And so one of the bosses, because they failed, thought that this guy was totally out of his mind. But his other boss said, okay, I'm going to give you my side of the business, which was called American Tree and Wreath. And so Spiegel, what he did is he brought in real, actual trees, right, to study how they looked and, how they appeared. And he tinkered with the machines that the old bosses were using to make the trees, in part to speed up the production process. And soon enough, he was cranking out 800,000 fake Christmas trees a year. And he made a fortune. He made a killing. He eventually sold the business, became a multi-millionaire, and retired. The American dream, Baruch Hashem, on fake Christmas trees. So that was Cy Spiegel. Actually, I recommend look it up in the Times. It was December 17th when this nice article came out. It was really a nice piece. Now, there was another man named Jay Frankston who also, he lived in New York City, And in the year 1960, he decided to dress up as Santa Claus, mostly to amuse his kids. But he discovered that on the third floor of New York City's main post office, that was the storage place for letters that kids wrote to Santa. And so Jay Frankston, and I don't remember reading exactly how he got access to the third floor of the New York City post office, but he did. And so he took some of the letters. He started, I think, with just a small number, like 8 letters, and he wrote the kids back as Santa. And he said, "You're going to get your wish." And he bought the presents, and he went and delivered the gifts to these 8 children. Soon he was doing this for about 150 kids in New York City, in the area. And it was just, an act of chesed, an act of kindness that he wanted to do for these children. And he dressed up as Santa, ho, ho, ho. He had a big bag, delighted these kids in New York City. So he started in 1960, and by 1972, he was still at it, and that's when the list grew to 150 kids. Small acts like that, and for Frankston, it grew into something very big. Small acts of kindness, that's very Jewish. I mean, we believe, remember, and I preach this a lot, that every single positive act makes a difference. It tips the scale to make the world a better place. So no small deed should be discounted. This guy, Jay Frankston, is a great dugma, a great example for all of us. He started small, got bigger, really sort of a Jew embodying the Christmas spirit, if you will. So a little bit of history, a couple of examples of Jews who did great things to have a great impact on Christmas. So with that, I say Shabbat Shalom, and to all a good night.